302-261. Boom, boom, boom. Awesome. I think we're done, right? We're live.
Yes, we are. Good morning.
Did we lose Miss Alia?
I think she stepped out. Yeah.
All right. Beautiful day in paradise. We got Anthony. All right. How do you pronounce the last name, Anthony?
The easiest way would be Fa, F-A, and then yes. So Phaésse.
Phaésse.
Yes.
My brother, where are you at in this world?
I'm currently speaking to you from the future in Adelaide and Adelaide Hills. So it's 7:30 p.m. on a Thursday evening here.
Oh, I love it. And here we are at 5:01 a.m. in Eastern Time, USA. And
wow.
So we have listeners and watchers from around the globe. And we're here at drkiltz.com on YouTube, Facebook, also Instagram, and our Kiltz Mighty Tribe. We're talking about health and wellness, keto carnivore, faith and fitness. Anthony, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're helping share healing for all of our humanity around the globe.
Yeah, so thanks for having me today. My name is Anthony. I've been a personal trainer since since 2001. I recently just retired from one-on-one PT after just over 60,000 contact gym hours on the floor, and just over 5,000 clients, maybe 5,500. And I've been using the carnivore, the ketogenic diet over the last 20 plus years to help heal hormones and help manipulate somewhat alter body composition, particularly with women. And that's basically, so I've been doing it in Australia. Also, I had a bit of a stint in the US in Chicago, and then I was in Chicago for a little while, and then in London for a couple of years. But I have to say, I wasn't really cluey early on as a PT. My background was in sports specific, so I was training marathon runners and sprinters for about 4 years, and then The Biggest Loser, the first ever episode, was televised in 2004. And when I first started PT, it was not the way that you see it today, how it's for the for the fitness influencers or for body transformations. Back then, personal training was reserved either for film stars, for sports specific, but it was not for the everyday person. And then I was training clients, particularly in athletics. And then in 2004, after The Biggest Loser came about, all these transformations, I thought maybe the pendulum is swinging towards body composition as a specialty. So I got out of sports specific into body composition. And from 2004 till 2009, I really messed it up. I did not know how to get people in shape, guys. So I struggled as a PT, and it's a results-based business, personal training. So if you can't get people in shape, you're out of business. And I played, I was basically on that hamster wheel, picking up clients, losing them because I could not get them in shape. And then I moved to London in 2009, and I worked with a prominent doctor in 2009. And then he basically told me that, Anthony, if you want to understand body composition, health, wellness, vitality, you've got to pay attention to this little thing called hormones. And I didn't understand back then what they were, but hormones are these chemical messengers, and they basically instruct the cells how to perform certain tasks, including when to store body fat and when to burn fat for fuel. So once I got my head around that, results were predictable. I understood that lifestyle interventions drive hormones, and the hormones do the rest. So since 2009 until today, I basically have found a predictable way to drive health first and then body composition second as a result of that.
We're here with Anthony talking about body composition and health. And your questions all around the globe are welcome on Kiltz Mighty Tribe or Instagram, and I'll relay them. But if you come over to YouTube or Facebook, Dr. Kiltz, you can have a direct connection. And we're going to have a prize today. What's our hashtag today, Alia?
How about lean? Hashtag lean.
I like that. Hashtag lean's great.
So what do you go by? Lean 7. What's Lean 7 about?
So the Lean 7 is the 7 hormones that drive lipolysis, body recomposition, and a little concept I've come to use now is known as youthful aging, right? I don't like to use anti-aging because we're all going to age, but I like to use the idea of youthful aging because there is so much we can do with our DNA. And if we're not maximizing our blueprint the way it's designed to be maximized, then, you know, someone will say to you, you don't look 46. And my question is, well, hold on, what should 46 look like? And the answer is, I do look what a 46-year-old, a proper human should function and look like at 46. But by comparison to the world around us, you know, many are overweight, sick, and nearly dead, right? By comparison, you stand out like a sore thumb, but really this is what a 46-year-old should look like. So youthful aging is something that I've noticed, a phenomenon I've seen in the clients I've worked with. Not only are they getting in shape, building muscle, losing body fat, but they seem to be slowing down and to some degrees even reversing the aging process.
We have our first question.
The answer is yes. Has Anthony helped underweight women? The answer is absolutely yes.
Great.
So body recomposition is not weight loss. Body recomposition is the idea of body composition is the muscle to fat ratio that we carry. And so underweight individuals tend to have a skewed ratio of less muscle mass and to some degree less body fat. So optimizing body composition in favor of greater contractile tissue, more muscle mass. Yes, absolutely. I work with people of that nature. Yes.
I was looking at a short of the heaviest guy in football.
Okay.
The guy's a phenomenal athlete. Does fat inhibit our health?
Does fat inhibit health? That's the question. The answer is absolutely yes, because fat plays a pivotal role if in a male and a female. Let's talk about a male for a moment. The more body fat we carry, the more estrogen dominant aromatizing we are. So in our fat cells, we have an enzyme called aromatase, and that aromatase converts your testosterone to estrogen. So the more fat you carry, the less testosterone, free testosterone you're utilizing for building muscle. And the less testosterone you have, the less performance. So the answer is yes.
Although fat people can be healthy and skinny people can be unhealthy.
Correct.
And a lot of what I'm, because obviously body composition, we're all looking at it for maybe some mating purposes and egotistical. But I'm wondering if you can develop a lot of what you're talking about, overweight, but still have a mindset and a muscle set of health.
Yes, absolutely. Because let's just be straight. I've buried 3 bodybuilding friends of mine.
Yep.
Okay. They died in their late 20s, early 30s. And by definition in the fitness industry, if you look a certain way, supposedly you're healthy, and nothing could be further from the truth.
Right.
The absolute definition of health is the absence of disease. That's the definition of health, the absence of dis-ease. Has and always will be. Now, if you have digestive issues, that is a dis-ease to the body. If you've got skin issues, if you've got brain fog, if you have immobility, if you can't run, climb a flight of stairs, that's a dis-ease to some degree. Okay. So just because you're in shape does not make you healthy. And this is the big juggernaut that I'm now dealing with in the fitness industry. that most people are looking at the credentials of someone based on how they look. Okay. Particularly young influencers. Young influencers are inundating the marketplace right now, and they're giving contraindicated advice. And the more mature generation are looking at these young influencers, being inspired by how they look, not realizing that these young influencers have youth, robustness, organ reserves. There are certain things that get them to look a certain way in spite of what they eat or how they train. Okay. So to bring it all around, yes, you can be skinny and unhealthy. We call that TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside, TOFI. You were going to ask something, Dr. Kiltz?
Well, I think keep going, because I believe in general we're fat phobic, and we judge negatively obesity, when in fact it may not be the cause of any disease, but it's our mindset about that, and what got you fat is the cause of disease. But your fat on your body is zero cause of any disease. And I'm wondering if, no matter what it is, because you're right, look at the movie industry, right? Look at the fashion industry. It's youth oriented because in general, it's youth oriented. Is that, and how do we sort of blow up? Because there's so many people that are overweight that deserve health and wellness in a short amount of time without losing any significant weight. How do we push that into a paradigm, recognizing the drive for youth and looks?
Yeah. So health and wellness is relative to the individual. Relative. What you classify as being health and feeling well is relative. Now, just because you carry excess body fat to some degree, if you do all your metabolic markers, your C-reactive proteins fine, your lipid panel is fine, and you carry extra body fat, that does not make you unhealthy. The public would probably see that otherwise, because it's been driven by this fashion propaganda that you have to look a certain way. Right? Now, if you do have a body composition goal in mind, because I've worked with carnivores who've been on the carnivore wagon for 2-3 years, they've healed everything there is to heal, but they still haven't, they haven't reached that point whereby how they'd like to ideally look like. That's a different story altogether. Okay, that's a personal thing. It doesn't make them unhealthy. So what I'm trying to say is, just because you carry body fat does not entirely make you unhealthy, depending on what your metabolic markers are showing. Okay, because again, the bodybuilders that I worked with, they all had high blood pressure. They all had tanked HDL. I mean, almost non-existent HDL. And 2 of them had heart attacks. One had cancer. So for me, we need to drive the message that you've got to be healthy to get yourself in quote unquote shape, not get in shape to think you're healthy.
Right.
That's my take on that. And you should be lifting with weights. We're lifting weights. This is the best definition of life. Sorry, keeping death at a respectable distance. Okay? That's the definition of life, is to keep death at a respectable distance. And muscle mass is the #1 metabolic currency for the human body. So outside aesthetics, we're building the physique. We're here to slow down the aging process. In fact, we're here to win the battle against gravity. We're here to delay the aging process as best as we can. And muscle mass is a prime indicator of that. Grip strength is a prime indicator of that. Okay, now we're getting stronger. Strong is the new skinny, they say. So now I'm just focusing on getting the client stronger, getting them to the gym 2-3 times a week, getting them to eat the way they should be eating, maybe moving around a little bit, and body composition comes for the ride. So be it.
Is the act of getting healthy healthy?
Is the act of getting healthy healthy?
Yeah, isn't it? It's an action. Really, what you're talking about is action, and just doing is part of that every single day, because you feel better when you come out of the gym with inspiration and perspiration, more so than anything. And so, we consider exercise as healthy, although I'll argue that sometimes exercise can be harmful, but the essential act of doing it makes you feel better.
Yes. Now,
I have a question.
Yep, go on.
Hello, good morning. So,
good morning.
I'm going to ask you to simplify a little bit. If someone comes to you, let's say they're not interested in doing any measuring of markers, or let's say they are done and they're all good. What must we prioritize? The muscle mass or the decrease in fat percentage?
Yeah. Now, great question, by the way. I didn't catch your name the first time.
Dr. Nelson.
Dr. Nelson, thank you. Great question. If someone was to come to me, let's say there was a lady before that questioned about underweight clients, whatever it was. If somebody was to come to me and wanted to augment their body composition, let's say we trained and we added 2 kilograms of pure muscle to their frame over an 8-10 week period, and they lost no weight, but the weight that they added to their frame was pure muscle mass, then by default the body fat as a percentage would come down. Okay, so now the challenge is we're constantly focusing on weight loss, and I would rather a client not lose any weight than compromise muscle tissue. Because just because you've lost weight does not mean all of that was body fat. If you've lost more than 25%, let's say in a kilo of weight loss, if more than 25% was contractile tissue, that was not a successful weight loss. So rule number 1 is to protect muscle mass at all costs. And as we focus on building the metabolism, Dinah Schwarzbein had a great quote. She said, you've got to build the metabolism to, quote unquote, burn the fat, not destroy it in order to do so. So to answer your question, the real secret is actually building the metabolism by focusing on adding muscle to the physique. Because we're naturally going to atrophy as we get older. So, yes.
Isn't our big problem is actually inactivity as we age for so many people, because we like watching Dr. Kiltz on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, along with all of the other brothers and sisters here, and participating in the action of life. And if you're going to watch or listen, be on the bike or the walking pad or more, and get moving. And you can listen to us quite easily on some headsets also while you're doing your activity. And so what you're saying is action is really the key part of this.
Well, yes, the principle of use states whatever you don't use, you lose. Whatever you don't employ, you forfeit. And this is absolute with muscle mass, and particularly the fast twitch fibers. We have.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, when you're done.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Alia, is there a reason we don't have people's names up on this? Usually we have them there. So I'm just
That's
wondering.
very strange.
Yeah,
I will
usually we
figure out why that is. They're usually here.
Set up. Well, we'll fix it the next time because usually.
Let me see if I can fix it. I'll after my question, I'll see if I can fix it in the background.
Yeah, it would be nice. So,
what do you?
I don't know my name.
I don't know your name either anymore. Anthony, what do you think about a vibration plate? Is that at all useful for people?
Again, what's the goal? Because remember, fitness is specific.
Oh,
okay.
So well, I have like someone that's helping me coach Lisa, and she mentions using the vibration plate. I don't think I'm using it to lose weight, but it seems like water is draining out of my legs.
Yeah.
I don't know, but does that help at all, like with muscles and actually keeping your muscles from atrophying?
Science says no.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So to grow muscle mass, we have to recruit the high threshold motor units. These are the fast twitch fibers. These are the fibers that are 80+% responsible for muscular hypertrophy.
Yeah.
And so to do those, they're called high threshold motor units for a reason, because in order for you to recruit them, there needs to be high peak forces. You've got to come to a place of momentary muscular failure to recruit them. Now, what I was saying earlier, Alia, is that after the age of 18, it's a staggering statistic. Over 75% of the population stop sprinting
interesting.
after high school. So there's no real reason for us to do it. We tend to do it during inter-school sports and competition and so forth. But again, training with weights, when I was using marathon runners and sprinters, I should have known back in the day, by the way, because I was receiving anecdotal evidence of these athletes, and they were complete polar opposites. Let's say if you knew absolutely nothing about exercise science and all you had was the anecdotal evidence of athletes in the Olympic competition, let's compare the marathon runners and the sprinters. So I train both of them. A marathon runner and a sprinter have one commonality, that they both run. It's not that they run, but in the manner in which they run. None of my marathon runners said to me, Anthony, I'd like to look like a marathon runner. None of my sprinters said to me, Anthony, I'd like to look like a sprinter. So lo and behold, how they looked was the residual outcome of how they trained.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
They train a certain way, and the outcome is based on that training. So a sprinter will sprint for 10 seconds, no more, no less, 100-meter sprinter. And the physiology of the human body will react in such a way that it would get them to look like this.
Oh, interesting.
A marathon runner runs for an hour or two, and they end up looking the way that they do. Now, if duration, meaning volume, if more is better when it comes to exercise, more is better. If more exercise was better to optimize body composition, then by theory and prac, the marathon runner should look more muscular and leaner than the sprinter. Because they do more volume of work. But it's not volume of work that grows muscle tissue, it's intensity of effort. And intensity has an inverse relationship to duration, meaning you can go hard, you can go long, you just can't do both.
Okay.
Okay, so you have an X and Y axes, you've got duration, and you've got intensity. As duration prolongs, intensity diminishes. Meaning once intensity leaves the weights room, so should you, if your goal is to build and maintain muscle mass.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. We'll answer this question also. If you know this answer, does the vibration plates help with draining your lymph nodes?
Lymphatics?
Lymphatics, yeah.
I would say that would be probably more yes.
Oh, okay.
I would say yes.
Okay.
More so that than I would say building muscle.
Okay. Makes sense.
Is it just vibration, not electromagnetic energy directly?
Right. It's just like
yeah.
Cordelia, does Anthony recommend we get our hormones tested?
I would say so, yes. I would say particularly for women, I I would look at hormones such as DHEA, progesterone, estrogen, and so forth. For men after the age of 40, have a look at testosterone. And yeah, I mean, those are the main ones. But the biggest one to look at, and that goes unnoticed, which plays an incredible role in all of these, is vitamin D3. Okay, vitamin D3, every cell in the human body has a vitamin D receptor, which means not every disease, but most of them has somehow linked with a deficiency in vitamin D. So that's the big one that I would look at first, because it impacts progesterone, cortisol, DHEA, testosterone, all of them. That's the big one. So start with vitamin D3. And also, I also get my clients to look at red blood cell count in magnesium. That's heavily depleted in a lot of people. And yeah, we would start with those. So the answer is yes.
Great. Tracy, what's your take on the food pyramid that nutritionists bang on about being healthy?
Yeah, it should be flipped upside down. So, as somebody once said, if you follow the healthy diet pyramid, you start looking like it.
That's great. That's so true.
Yeah. So the challenge we're having right now is the credentials in nutrition are coming from the very people that push the agenda of eating the way we're supposed to be eating. Right. So so what was the question? What's your take on the food pyramid that nutritionists bang on about? That's been my challenge the last 20 plus years, and dealing with nutritionists and yeah, I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole.
What animal looks for direction and what to eat?
Thank you. Well, when I was having a chat with Dr. Chafee a while back, we had a segment called Name an Animal That ... And we would start with name an animal, whatever, that runs to lose weight. Start with that one, okay? Name an animal that actually eats and drinks at the same time. Think about it, right? You're having a meal, and a lion will be eating what it's eating. It's not doing it by a lake to drink as it's eating. When it eats, it eats. When it drinks, it drinks. Okay? Name an animal that scans a barcode or measures calories before they eat their food, all right? And then we just kept going on, name an animal such and such, So yeah, so this is very, very interesting. Mother Nature has a lot to teach us. So.
And packaged. I mean, just think about no other animal cooks their food or has packaged food in its natural environment.
Thank you. Packaged foods. I mean, the list goes on and on. If we just listen to Mother Nature and ate instinctively, and not only ate instinctively, guys, but also just really focused when we're eating a meal. Most people, when they're eating, I'm not sure you notice this, but they're not actually eating the food. They're on their phone, they're watching TV. This is a transaction in energy here. Wherever you are, be there. Wherever you are, be there. When you eat your food, eat your food. Eat your food. My parents are Greek, and clear enough, there's a lot of food. Being a Greek, well, one thing's for sure, all the phones were switched off when I was a young kid. And there's no, and back in the day when we had like those phones up on the wall, my mother would take the phone off the wall. It was engaged the whole time. Like we were not allowed to encourage no negativity at the table when we ate. Everything was to encourage digestion. Okay. And so, yeah, I think we should be practicing.
Right. So no other animal is engaged in anything other than
eating. When they're eating food, right?
Except our dogs and cats, which eat packaged food.
Well, I mean, the life expectancy of a Labrador, I think it's gone from 14 years to 9 years.
Oh, no.
Because of the food-like substances they're eating. You know what would be interesting? If we had a camera in the movies showing the audience as to what they're doing with the food, you'd probably get people like they're just, I don't know what they're doing. They're not even watching the movie, or they're not realizing what they're doing with the food that they're eating. Okay, so yeah, wherever you are, be there. That's the message here.
Exactly. Dr. Kiltz, we can't hear you.
And there's a different view of Dr. Kiltz.
I mean, what is your take?
Well, we got Malcolm surprising us. Go ahead, Dr. Nelson.
Please comment a little bit on snacks and snacking.
Yeah. Again, we can continue on this segment. Name an animal in the wild that snacks. Okay. So snacking is, as a result, this is an important note to make, guys. So quality of the food drives frequency, drives quantity, or quality drives quantity, drives frequency. Meaning, when you're eating a food-like substances, not a proper species appropriate diet, when you're doing that, the quality of the nutrition you're eating drives the quantity, drives the frequency. Okay? When you're eating a big ribeye, I can guarantee you the quality of the food of that ribeye, that's going to determine the quantity of that food and hence the frequency of that food. But when you're eating foods, because remember, hunger is not just eat. Hunger, by the way, means hunt. Hunger doesn't mean eat. Hunger means hunt. So you go out, you've got your game. But if you are not giving the body what it's supposed to be eating, the signal it's sending back is, hey, listen, if you're going to feed me the right stuff here. Give me what I need and I'll leave you alone. So the reason why people keep snacking every 2-3 hours is because they haven't fed the body the nutrients it requires. And if you give it what it needs, it'll go a lot longer without food. So quality drives quantity, drives frequency. You get the quality right, the quantity and frequency takes care of itself.
What did we eat 50,000 years ago?
Yes, the skeletal muscle and the associated fat of large ruminant animals would be the answer.
And their organs.
And their organs, from nose to tail, preferably.
Right. And so how does a grazing animal eat? Do they eat just once a day or do they eat all day?
Well, I'm surrounded by horses here on this ranch, I could tell you, and they're eating all the time.
And so
they're grazing all the time.
So if you're fed a grazing animal diet, which is plants, you're going to tend to be a grazer.
Correct.
But if you're fed a lion diet, you're going to be a hunter and a feaster.
Yes.
What is the proper human diet?
What is the proper human diet? That is the question. And it depends who you ask. Mm-hmm. It depends who you ask.
I guess I'm going back to our evolutionary diet because essentially go out there and just graze on the grass and the plants without cooking them or preparing them versus killing and eating an animal. Which one is truly the one that's non-poisonous and healthy?
Yeah, the latter.
The hunter.
Yes.
And so we are domesticated animals fed a diet to keep us weak and meek on a plant-based diet, because as I was walking down the street the other day, and plants were just kind of hanging over the sidewalk. And Geronimo was my Frisian paint that I had for a while. And no matter where you were going, if there was food hanging in front of him, what did he want to do? Eat it. But nobody's kind of like just grabbing a bite of the horse as you're walking down the road. You got to do some work. So are we not absolutely brainwashed in a domesticated plant-based diet?
We are. And the more we eat this way, the more disconnected we are with our awareness to realize. Because remember, the greatest indicator of eating response is eating response. The greatest indicator of eating response is eating response. If you want to know what food's doing to you, eat a certain way, sit back and just observe. But most people walk around in a fog-like state, not realizing that they're operating at 20%. Okay. And that's their new normal. That's their normal. Feeling sluggish every day. That's their normal. And they call that aging. They call that just getting old. No, you're not getting older. You're getting sicker.
My good friend Dave Kilmer passed at 52. He was a healthy doctor. And when he died, that's when my question of why did he die and what caused disease. And I know he was a big plant eater and he loved to exercise. And I include over-exercise as a cause of disease. Could we over-exercise?
I think the answer is yes. Yes. I mean, when I interviewed Professor Bart Kay, who has a degree in exercise science and cardiovascular pathophysiology, would agree with me. Yes. The answer is yes. Particularly if you're doing marathons, too much zone 2 stuff. There are changes to the heart that take place over a period of time. There's greater oxidation happening in that process. Yes. I'm a big believer in precision. Precise exercise is the name of the game. Precision. No more, no less, precise. Okay.
Motion.
And well, if muscle mass is performance dependent, and it is, muscle mass is performance dependent. To have more, you've got to become more. Okay. If you could barbell curl 20 pounds for 10 reps, and that's all you did ad infinitum, ad nauseum, you will not continue to grow muscle mass. So number one, muscle mass is performance dependent. But here's the other part people don't get right. Performance is recovery dependent. Okay. As you raise the intensity of effort in the gym, you've got to compensate for the exhaustive effects of the workout by providing more rest.
I wonder if the diet plays more of a role than the motion does. And I think that there's a lot of toxicity to the plants which damage the neuromuscular and also our joints, that in fact it's not the bulk, but it's the consistency of getting up. The one reason I jump out of bed every day is because if I don't and I stay there all the time, when my wife leaves me alone and I can't get up alone, I'm in trouble. So our real mission is just to move and participate in walking in because then using our arms to lift and move and build things. Our mind and our muscles need to be active. The garden, again, if you're growing a garden for the sheep or you're moving the logs and things like that, I mean, that's really the work, because no other animal exercises. It participates in normal activities.
Yes. And you raise a really good point there, because we glorify exercise so much, but how do you tell a client to move well when they haven't got the energy? So here's a key note to make. In order to feel well, you have to fuel well. Fuel well, feel well.
Fuel to feel.
Fuel to feel. So before I get somebody moving, if I'm dealing with a lady right now, she's over 500 pounds. Okay. Now, we can't move. We, meaning we're a team. We can't move. But what I can get her doing is getting her feeling better. And we get her eating a species-appropriate diet, and she's starting to feel better. And now she's saying to me, Anthony, my 1,000 steps per day have gone up to 3,000 steps per day. That's good progress. She couldn't have done that if she wasn't feeling better. Number one. Number two, clearly she's lost weight on her joints and she's able to move. But rule number one, to feel well, you've got to fuel well. Okay? On this planet, it's a performance-based planet. You have to perform, and you cannot perform well if you don't feel well.
And the diet it removes the antigenic chemical particles that actually cause disease, that cause you not to want to move, cause you to be depressed.
Yes.
And so by changing your nutritional focus, you'll begin to allow the body now to like move and then do something every single day. And as you said, it's consistency.
Yeah.
Well, I do my 100 push-ups every day. I do my walking every day. I mean, I work either at a desk, sitting or standing in a lot of our work. I mean, really, that's so much because what percentage of people actually produce the food we eat in this world?
Yeah. I wouldn't know the answer to that. I'd be speculating, but yeah, I wanted to just raise something earlier, what you mentioned, but I just lost my the train of thought on it. But if we do not perform, if we don't do anything, again, the law of use states whatever you don't use, you lose. Okay, so for you to be able to win this battle, I guess it's the battle every day when you wake up, guys. The battle of sickness and disease is on every day. The moment your 2 feet touch the floor, when you wake up, the battle of good and bad, good and evil, light and dark, sickness and disease versus health, the battle is on. In your body, you have a thing called white corpuscles. Okay, white is to fight, red is to nourish. And they're there to keep you alive every day. Now, let's just say one day your body sends you a signal. It's trying to win this battle for you. It's sending you a signal to give it certain nutrients. Let's say, for example, you've mistaken the signal. Instead of a ribeye, instead of some steak, you gave it some cake. Okay. That is an error in judgment. Now, your body needs the right nutrients to take on this battle against sickness and disease. And that's asking you for the right nutrients. And you've mistaken the signal. Instead of giving it a steak, you gave it a cake. Now the body has a right to say, hey, buddy, whose side are you on? Here's me waking up every day trying to win this battle of sickness and disease versus health. Here's you giving me the wrong kind of stuff here. A little cooperation on your part, and we can win this battle every single day. Mm-hmm. Now, when you give it the wrong signal and you give it the wrong food, you feel bad. And when you feel bad, I don't know anybody who wants to stay feeling bad. You want to go and feel good because you feel bad after eating that meal. And now the trap you've got is you're going to the same food that makes you feel good in the moment and bad down the track. So you've got this vicious cycle of eating something you shouldn't have eaten, feeling good intermittently, then feeling bad. Because you feel bad, you want to feel good, so you go back to eating that food that made you feel bad. And that's the cycle we get stuck in. Okay. Now, in the midst of this metabolic mayhem, there is a little thing called choice. You have a choice as to what you choose to feed your hunger with. In that moment, you have a choice. Now, nutrition is neutral. Nutrition has no neutrality. It's either going to clog or it's going to cleanse. Nothing in the middle, right? We're either going to destroy or create. Nothing in the middle. Mm-hmm. That's how it works with nutrition. There's no neutrality. Meaning, if you're not creating, you're destroying. If you're not winning the battle, you're losing the battle. So in the midst of hunger, and we're not the most rational beings when we're famished.
No.
We don't make the right choices when we're famished, right? Well, I do, because I know I've messed up a few thousand times. That's probably why. By the way, that's the secret to success, to mess up faster. Okay.
Well, okay. Isn't our biggest problem in the world is food access? Mm-hmm. And the human brain is used to starvation and or lack, not abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And so if in front of us is a plant-based diet, which has been prepared for us, we may be apt to eat it because that's our habit of access.
Yeah.
And
food access
has been highly manipulated. That what do they say is not good for us? Number one, to eat fat. Eating fat is bad, and eating meat is bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they?
Well, food access creates food excess. Okay? Food access creates food excess. And then when we do, again, going back to the hunger signal I spoke about earlier, when we eat foods that do not nourish the brain, the body, that signal we get, the hunger signal that goes on and on and on, it's insulin versus ghrelin, okay? You eat a meal that's high carbohydrate, you secrete insulin. It's a seesaw. You got insulin on one side. By the way, they've showed studies that ghrelin levels temporarily elevate as we are eating processed food. So when you anticipate a junk meal, when you start eating it, you get hungrier as you eat it. That's fascinating.
Well, because isn't the drive to get fat first?
Yes.
And so there's nothing wrong with us in our hyperphagic state, because the instinct is eat the things that get you fat so you survive the migration, hibernation, or the famine or fasting.
Yes. But hyperphagia comes in seasons. There are patterns of feasting, there are patterns of fasting. We are in excess, we are basically in a permanent hyperphagic state. That's the challenge we have right now. And then it gets worse because we have another hormone called leptin produced in fat cells, and it tells the body when to stop eating. It gives the body signals how much energy is on hand and what needs to be done with it. But when you have excess body fat, now this hormone leptin can't communicate to the brain that you are full and satisfied. So we are constantly in a hyperphagic state. Hyperphagia creates adiposity. Adiposity creates leptin resistance, and it continues going.
We have 17 questions to answer. So maybe
goodness.
We do a speed round.
Let's get through them.
Get a few, but I want to say there's nothing wrong with people's hormones. It's their environment that's the problem, because naturally, see, there's no natural anymore. We've removed the natural state because hyperphagia is normal in the fall, the summer, fall. But eventually the food is gone because the environment has changed. Mm-hmm. And so it's not our hormones that are the problem. It's our environment that's the problem, because obesity didn't exist because the access and abundance in general wasn't available. And in order to eat the meat, you had to hunt and kill it, and it wasn't going to make it easy, right?
Correct. Yeah. You're going to ask Dr. Nelson?
Yes. Many of the questions have to do with one topic. So I'm going to ask you a question sort of to summarize it, because there are too many, and they're all important, and it's around osteoporosis. So
thank you.
Tell us about what will be the most appropriate exercise to incorporate on someone who is already diagnosed with osteoporosis or diagnosed with osteopenia, or to prevent osteoporosis.
Yes. Okay. Great. I would have to assess the individual as to their capabilities, their biomechanics to their body, and depending on their movement patterns and so forth. But I would encourage strength resistance bearing exercises. couple that with an optimized vitamin D profile, because vitamin D has imperative benefits to bone density, providing you're also using that with strength training. So I would say strength training, number one, and it typically, it depends on the person, Dr. Nelson, but I typically would recommend a minimum of 2 sessions per week in strength training to start with, yeah, as a beginner, and then focusing on progressive overload over time, getting into performing better each time, namely more reps, more weight over time.
Yeah, someone made a comment that they were diagnosed with osteoporosis and sold a vibrating plate.
Yeah, and this is what Alia was saying earlier on, and I answered that perfectly. That's not going to have positive, to some degree, as much as strength-bearing exercises or resistance training will.
There you go. Since we're on vitamin D, what is your recommendation on vitamin D? I guess
my and it will vary from person to person, but we have nanomoles per liter. I believe you guys have nanograms per milliliter. I believe it might be, but it's between 60 to 80. In fact, there are studies that have shown that you could, this is 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. You can't optimize the high threshold motor units unless your vitamin D status is above 50. Okay, so I would recommend between 60 to 80. In Australian, we have nanomole per liter. That's between 150 and 200 nanomole per liter.
Good morning, everybody.
Awesome.
Good morning. Thanks.
Good morning. We welcome everyone for their comments, their shares, their likes, their loves, all of that. That's really grateful to everyone.
Yeah, so this is a great one by Barry Simon. Is soccer a good sport exercise-wise? I think soccer is fantastic. Again, I'm gonna quote my grade 6 phys ed teacher, Mr. Irwin, because he used to always pin this to us back in the day. He used to say, when somebody asks you, are you fit? Your answer should always be fit for what? And what he's trying to say is fitness is specific. Fitness is specific. So when somebody asks the question, is soccer a good form of exercise? The answer is, what's your goal in fitness? Cardiovascular fitness? Yes. If your goal is optimizing body composition, not ideal. And even soccer players today, they do strength training. Okay, they sort of feed off each other. They don't do exclusively just soccer. But so the answer is, what is the goal here? And if the goal is cardiovascular fitness, then yes, you could play soccer if you wish. And also, some of the best exercises are the ones that you enjoy to do. But then at the end of the day, it really comes down to specifically, what is your goal? Somebody else said Pilates. I'd say yes, Pilates is fantastic. There are certain things, Anita, this is to you, there are certain benefits that Pilates offers that strength training cannot offer. But then there are certain benefits that strength training offers that Pilates cannot offer. So combining them together would be ideal, complementing each other. Because mobility is incredibly beneficial, and also you would achieve that through Pilates. Core stability, mobility, flexibility, great. But then where Pilates falls short is it does not recruit the high threshold motor units the way strength training does. So I'd say you can complement them together. In fact, I've trained a few bodybuilders now who use Pilates in conjunction with their strength training.
I have a question on Kiltz Mighty Tribe about flatulence. On carnivore, I don't feel the need. Gut biome doctor says flatulence is normal. Well,
I don't know too much. What's that?
The improper diet, but go ahead.
On the improper diet, yeah. I mean, who did they receive that from? Sorry.
This is Kiltz Mighty Tribe. It's Aza. It's not on the platform you're watching. I've got 3 platforms here: StreamYard, Instagram, and Kiltz Mighty Tribe. But Aza's asking about this and calling out Bear Grylls.
Yeah. So are we talking about the expelling of gas?
Gas. Farts.
Yeah.
Farty farts.
So, okay. So I'm not sure about you or anybody else, but one common benefit to the carnivore diet is the absence of flatulence. Okay. So really, I learned this from Vince Gironda back in the day. Now, for those that don't know, Vince Gironda was about 50, 60 years ahead of his time. He was a bodybuilding coach. He was known as the Iron Guru. And he said back then, when you combine carbohydrates and proteins together, you create this antagonistic medium. You have protein, which contains acidic enzymes. You have carbohydrates, which contain alkaline enzymes. Similar, I'll give you a staple bodybuilding meal: chicken and rice. Okay. And now I've worked with hundreds of bodybuilders over the years, and one side effect to their diet is flatulence. Okay. So when you have chicken, acidic, rice, alkaline, depending on how much of each meal you're eating, let's say you're having more rice than chicken, you have for carbohydrates to be digested, the body has to be in an optimal alkaline state, in an alkaline medium. If you have protein, the protein is to be digested in an acidic medium. Now, when you have the two coming together, you've got alkalinity and you've got acidity right now. If the alkalinity outweighs the acidity, now you've got partially digested protein which putrefies in the GI tract. A great example of protein putrefaction would be to get a glass of milk and pop it out on a hot day and just let it sit there. That's protein putrefaction. In fact, we call it the protein farts, so to speak. Okay. Okay, that's on one side. Now, on the other side, let's say you have the alkalinity outweighing the acidity. Now you have an over-dominant alkaline medium. If we have partially digested, the acidity is dominating the alkalinity. Now we have partially digested carbohydrates, which create a fermentative effect in the GI tract. Now this is the burping and this is the problem with it. Mankind, and another thing to mention, mankind never hunted anything other than a single ingredient food in its solitary state. We didn't hunt a buffalo, foraged around to look for a beehive and drizzle honey, and then slice papaya over the top and call it a meal. That never happened. We ate single ingredient foods in their solitary state. Okay? So throughout biology, throughout evolution, basically Mother Nature, through obligation, in biology, obligation means to submit to a type of environment. Mother Nature predetermined our macronutrient ratios for you, and that was protein and fat. If carbohydrates were found, they were eaten seasonally and they were eaten on their own. Right? So we are made to digest protein and fat, and anything outside that will create disturbances in the GI tract, okay? Namely flatulence.
So amino acids are fermentable. I want to remind everyone, amino acids and simple sugars are fermentable. That's why lean meat's not good for us. You want to eat the fat, because fat is not fermentable, and actually eating fat suppresses the microbes, which suppresses fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yes.
I wish we had more time.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Doc. Me too. We got to do the game.
One more question.
What's the game?
The game. So everyone's putting hashtag lean, and they get put into like a raffle, like a drawing. Okay. We're gonna do that, and somebody wins, and they're gonna win electrolytes today.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah. That's why these hashtag leans were coming through. All right, got it now.
Yeah. Everyone's trying to win the electrolytes today. Running or walking?
I would say, yeah, walking.
Okay.
Walking.
Is carrying around a 35-pound 6-year-old several minutes a day good exercise?
Yeah, and give me that 6-year-old. What do they weigh? 30 pounds, whatever. Let's do different exercises with that 6-year-old. Hey, by the way, if all you did with 3 exercises for life, here are the 3. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Here are the 3 exercises for life. Number 1, a squat. If you don't have a squat in your workout, you know squat about training. Somebody once said. Okay. Number 1, a squat. Number 2, a push of some kind. Whether it's a push-up, a shoulder press, or a horizontal or a vertical press, and a pull of some kind, be it a row or a chin. That's the 3 exercises for life, okay? Now gymnasts only do 2. And look at their physiques. They do chin-ups and dips, chin-ups and dips, and they grow incredible physiques. So that's the 3 exercises: a squat pattern, a pulling movement, and a pushing movement.
Okay.
So use that 6-year-old and you can do all 3 if you wish. So.
Yeah. Great.
And get on the floor and move. Get down, get up, get moving, doing the work. That's all we need to do. As a kid, I didn't exercise. We just moved. And that's really critical. So all right, let's
go. Let's win, people. Somebody's winning today.
Anthony's website so people can find him and learn more about healing.
Yeah.
Let's see who's the winner. Marie Malinsky. Yay, congratulations. Email me.
Marie. That's great.
Alia@drkiltz.com and I will set you up. I need your address.
Alia.
Yeah.
Alia, can we also tell Marie that if she goes to lean7.com.au, lean7.com.au, that's the website, to find me, book a call, and I'll give her a free consultation.
Wow, that's awesome. Marie, you got like double win today. Can we just show your website really quick? Then we got to go.
Yes. Okay. So for those that want to, so it's
and also at drkiltz.com and Kiltz Mighty Tribe, you could schedule a consultation with Dr. Nelson for metabolic health and wellness.
That's right. Is this the right website?
That's the website. Yes. Okay, so just click on the book a call and then go from there. All the testimonials are on there. And by the way, there's a cool little AI in the bottom right corner. So if you need some guidance to navigate you through, that's really, really cool now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Marie, double win today. There you go.
Yeah, and also on Instagram, the Lean7. So reach out on Instagram at the Lean7. So.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
It was such a pleasure. It was a real honor to be on this platform with you all. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Oh, you're the best. Awesome. We look forward to talking more and sharing.
Oh, and by the way, I look forward to meeting you in town. I'll be in Melbourne with you, so I'll be meeting you in person. So.
I look forward to seeing you, Anthony. We're gonna get a chance to chat and share more around the globe. That's one of the most important things we're all doing. So
thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Have a fantastic end of week. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.